On October 10th, 3 days after October 7th, China's Central Television alleged that, quote, the Jews who represent 3% of U.S. population control 70% of its wealth, another trope. And then they went on to call Jewish Americans America's, quote, most influential minority, unquote. They also said that 6 to 7 Jews control 200 of the most influential American companies. And that was clearly anti-Semitic, but even before October 7th, this was permeating in official PRC media. China Global Television Network in 2021 talked about Israel-U.S. relations and attributed the close relationship to the notion that Jews, quote, Jews dominate finance, media, and internet sectors in America. This was within the official PRC information ecosystem, not even to mention the social media, which was even more unregulated and virulent in its nature. After October 7th, Schindler's List reviews and ratings on Chinese social media plummeted from 9.7 to 4.3. The Singham Network, Roy Singham, a noted philanthropist that New York Times has reported on, who has connections to CCP money, has also been funding a lot of the pro-Hamas activism inside of the United States. So there are all these data points that are going on, clearly coordinated around the same time, documented, as you mentioned. And it was really opportunistic, clearly opportunistic. And it speaks again to the strategic nature of the Middle East and the Israeli-Iranian dimension and how that plays into American power. In Chinese discourse, and CCP discourse in particular, anti-Semitism and focus on Israel is a stand-in for the problem of the United States that the CCP encounters. And I think that geopolitical calculation was certainly behind that pivot that we all saw to TikTok. Let's start by saying that days after October 7th, on October 19th in 2023, there was a Harvard-Capps-Harris poll that showed while only 9% of Americans 65 years old and older viewed Israel as to blame for what happened, for 18 to 24-year-olds, 51% blamed Israel for what happened. And you cannot understand that story without talking about TikTok. And I would commend this really interesting report from Wall Street Journal. I believe it was November or December of 2023. They set up 8 bot accounts, and they posed as a 13-year-old on TikTok with no prior search or viewing history at all on this app. And they just let the content come. And if you look at the videos that these 8 Wall Street Journal accounts received from TikTok, it suddenly put them into rabbit holes about what was happening in the Middle East between Israel and Gaza, Israel and Hamas. There were about 700 pro-Israel videos, a number of neither really taking an overt side. The pro-Palestinian content was about 3,000, which from that early thing was about a 4-to-1 ratio, but you're also right, Aaron, that there are some other studies that show that an even greater spread. TikTok is one of the most dangerous vectors of anti-Semitism, and TikTok, by virtue of its parent company ByteDance, is controlled and answers to the Chinese Communist Party.